Hello, ghouls and gamers, and of course, my fellow rejects. So today's video is the feat breakdown for the Zealot Preacher. Woo! Uh, yeah, so we're pretty much just going to go through each and every one of these feats. We're going to look at what they do, how they're how they're useful, and see if some are better than others, and kind of some cohesiveness amongst some of the feats. So let's get on into it. So your first set of feats you get at level 5 are pretty much survivability feats. You have Purify in Blood, which is essentially replenish 50% more toughness on melee kill. So if you don't know that, every time you get a melee kill in this game, doesn't matter any class, when you get a melee kill, you regenerate toughness. This essentially makes it where you get 50% more toughness for those melee kills. So, good to know. Uh, Another one is Faith Restored, which is plus 75% toughness damage reduction on critical hits for 4 seconds. So if every time you get a crit, you take less toughness damage. Simple, easy, and very good. Very strong feat. Enemies within, enemies without. So it is replenish 5% toughness per second while within 5 meters of 3 enemies. It does not say whether that is 3 enemies, 3 or more enemies. I'm assuming 3 or more. I would hope 3 or more. So pretty much if you're in the thick of it, then you're going to be getting 5% toughness back per second. It's pretty good. Pretty stout. I personally don't use this one because I don't like that it's, kind of conditional that it has to be 3 or more enemies. But at the same time, I usually am around 3 or more enemies. So I can see where there's a lot of strength behind that. So at level 10, you go into your next set of feats, which is we got Bloodletting, which is plus 10% melee crit chance for 3 seconds on melee hit against bleeding enemies. Melee critical hits apply bleed. So it's kind of self-sustaining. So essentially you get 10% more crit chance if you're hitting something that's bleeding. And if you're critting, you're making it bleed. So it kind of makes an endless cycle. Very strong feat, especially if you end up rolling, some blessings on your weapon that cause bleed or extra crit. It makes some great cohesion there, especially if you get that plus this, and then you pick up like Faith Restored, where since you're critting more, you're getting more toughness back. So, all in all, very strong. Then, after that, you have Punishment. Attacks that hit 3 or more enemies grant plus 30% impact for 5 seconds. Stacks 5 times. At max stacks, gain uninterruptible. This is actually a really strong feat. So your weapons that have high stagger, like if you're using the Thunder Hammer or if you're using the what was the other one? The Crusher. They have a lot of stagger, and impact is essentially translate to stagger damage. So yeah, this ends up becoming very handy, especially with the uninterruptible at 5 stacks. So yeah, if you're running more of a stagger style, then you might want to look at this feat here. Retribution is plus 10% attack speed below 50% health. Bonus is doubled below 20% health. So more attack speed. You already get 10% attack speed from Swift Exorcism. This will bump it up to 20% attack speed when you're below 50% health, and 30% when you're below 20% health. So if you're that one that likes to run in there, stay low health, get all them damage boosts from your other abilities, your other skills, then Retribution could be the one for you. It's extra attack speed. It's always good. Holy Fervor is the first. Oh, sorry. At level 15, you unlock these set of feats, which Holy Fervor is plus 20% power to allies in coherency for 5 seconds on gaining a stack of Martyrdom. Martyrdom is the one that essentially you get plus 5% damage for every 15% of missing health. So every time you get a stack of this, you'll get plus 20% power to all your allies and coherency. Pretty good. If you're running that low health stuff, then this will give you extra damage. Give your allies extra damage. Then you got Benediction, which is just straight up plus 15% toughness damage reduction. I'm not sure if it stacks with your aura, if it makes it to where you're getting, you know, plus 15 or plus 7, or if it's actually just changing it from plus 7 to plus 15. Either way, it's good. I mean, you're no matter what, you're getting extra toughness damage reduction to you and all your allies and coherency. So that's just a strong passive. If you're not sure what to pick, then you might want to just throw this on in this tree just to have the extra, you know, damage reduction. Inspiring excoriation. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. Using Chastise the Wicked replenishes 20% toughness to allies and coherency. That's awesome. That's just every time you use your ability, not only do you regain 50% health, 50% toughness, but you're making all your allies that are in coherency when you charge off get 20% toughness. Could save your team. Could help your team for sure. So, pretty cool feat. At level 20, you unlock your next set of feats, which is Holy Revenant. Is the first one. It's when Until Death ends, you gain health based on the damage you dealt during Until Death. Melee damage dealt heals for twice the amount. This thing is awesome. I love this. So if you're about to drop, and if you don't know what Until Death is every 90 seconds, taking damage that would kill you, you gain invulnerability for 5 seconds. So when you hit that invulnerability, that 5 seconds, all the damage you deal ends up healing you after this falls off. And melee damage is double that. So you can charge in there, go to town on everything, get some health back. It'll make you really hard to kill in certain situations. So big fan of Holy Revenant. Thy Wrath Be Swift is you no longer get stunned by enemy melee attacks when you take damage, and gain plus 20% movement speed for 2 seconds. It's pretty handy. It can be useful. Some of these melee weapons have really long wind-up time. You end up getting hit a couple times, and it'll kind of stagger you and make you not be able to finish the swing. So this can come in pretty dang handy. I do think that either of these other two are better, but this one does have its uses, and in certain builds could be really strong. The other one is Faith Restores All, which is after taking damage, you gain 25% of damage taken over 5 seconds. It's just pretty useful. It's nice, just a little passive if you're not sure what to do, if you don't end up using your, Until Death very often. You're not really having any issues, getting staggered with your melee attacks and stuff, throw on Faith Restored, and it just passively you'll end up gaining some health back every time you get hit. Not much. I mean, obviously you're getting the losing end of that trade-off there, because you're still taking 75% of that damage, and this only gives it back, over 5 seconds too. So not the greatest, but it is nice, and it's helpful. So level 25, you get Emperor's Executioner, which deals up to 25% increased range damage based on how close you are to your target. The range damage increase falls off the further away you are. So no matter what, you are going to get a little extra damage out of this on your guns. Now, mind you, this does not work with melee weapons. It specifically states range damage. So, but like, especially if you're running like a shotgun, you like running your shotgun a lot, you like running your flamer a lot and getting up in there and just, getting close with your gun and just melting stuff, this thing's going to boost your damage by up to a maximum of 25%. So that's pretty substantial. The next feat in this tree is Rising Conviction. Hitting an enemy with a melee attack increases your damage by 4% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. That's just always awesome. I'm sorry. I love it. I stay in melee a lot on my Preacher, and extra damage is just extra damage. I love this feat. It's 20% extra damage for hitting stuff. Okay. I'll take it. Then you have Martyrdom. Honor the Martyr, which is your Martyrdom has 6 max stacks now, which is the one where for every 15% of your health that you're missing, you gain a stack of Martyrdom, which ups your damage by 5%. So it maxes out at 6 stacks. You have to be missing, so you're 90% of your health. So you can only have 10% of your health up to get all 6 stacks. But you do get 30% extra damage. So it is a big, huge jump in damage. Mind you, if you're a big melee guy, then I do believe that Rising Conviction is better, because you're always going to, you still have the 15% you can naturally get through Martyrdom, plus an extra 20% ends up being 35%, which is a net gain that is actually higher. But if you're not a big melee guy and you like using the Martyrdom setup, then this is pretty good. Especially this pairs very well with like Holy Revenant, I want to say. Well, Holy Revenant is going to heal you back up and make you lose your stacks, but it will keep you in the fight. So it is a nice feat to have, though. You might find it more easy to use than Rising Conviction as well. So then level 30, you get your biggin. You got Invocation of Death. Melee critical hits reduce the cooldown of Chastise the Wicked by 1.5 seconds. Really nice. Just makes your special pop up more often. If you're a big melee guy, get on in there and you get reduced cooldown on it. And then every time you use it, you get replenished toughness, you get the extra damage, you get back in melee range to do more melee. So, yeah. Then there is Fury of the Faithful. Plus 20% attack speed for 5 seconds on using Chastise the Wicked. So it makes Chastise the Wicked even stronger. Not only does it give you extra damage, toughness, mobility, it also gives you extra 20% attack speed for 5 seconds. So who wouldn't want that? And then Purge the Wicked is Chastise the Wicked now has 2 charges. I love that feat too, honestly. I usually end up going between this one or the Invocation of Death, either cooldown reduction or extra charges. Either way, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong in this tree. Everything's great. I love it. I love Chastise the Wicked though. So yeah, that is the feat breakdown for the Preacher. Hope I helped you out. Hope I gave you some info you needed, and thank you for tuning in. As always, stay swampy.